Hi, Joe Muldowney here. Welcome to another edition of Running Shorts, the YouTube channel where you're going to learn how to become a better runner. You're going to enjoy your running more by watching these videos. And so if you want to watch these videos and you like these videos, then do a couple of things. Press that like button below. That's very helpful to us. Also, share these videos with your friends so that you can help them out becoming better runners as well. And subscribe to this channel. And if you subscribe to the channel, you will get these videos every week as I put them out. So today, before we start our video, which I think is going to be very, well, let's say, super. I want to talk about something. In 2020, I moved out of the cold Northeast and down here to Conway, South Carolina, right outside of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. But prior to that, when I had written my last book entitled Personal Best, which was published in 2014, I met a very interesting and a very accomplished gentleman by the name of Roscoe Griffin. Roscoe Griffin at that time was the president of the Grand Strand Running Club, which is located in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. At that time, I was very fortunate that Roscoe invited me to speak at the Myrtle Beach Marathon, and he and I have established a friendship ever since. He is currently the president of the Grand Strand Running Club, and he is a wonderful runner and even more of a wonderful man. So on March 2nd, 2024, just a few weeks down the road, Myrtle Beach will be holding its 27th annual Myrtle Beach Marathon. It is held on Saturday, March 2nd this year, and it is just a grand event on the Grand Strand. Obviously, it is a very flat and fast course. It is run at a great time of the year, and as I said, run very, very professionally by the Grand Strand Running Club. Now, more than that, if you can't make it to the Grand Strand Running Club's edition of the Myrtle Beach Marathon, if you're down here visiting, get in touch with them. They have a Facebook page. And again, reach out to Mr. Roscoe Griffin. He's a great guy, and he's going to, tell you about group runs that they may have, various courses that you could run along the Grand Strand. It's just a very good group of people, and it's a really, really good flat and fast marathon. Okay, now, today I'm recording this the day after Super Bowl Sunday, and I think the theme of this video is going to be that you as a runner are super. You're doing something that actually few people really do, even though there are more people running races today than ever before. But you're doing something that others are not doing. You've made that commitment to do something, to get out there and to put your miles in, put your kilometers in if you're watching this and you're not from the United States, and you've made that commitment. Now, I guess the question is, why? Like, why do we do it? Well, there are so many answers to that. I don't write things down on cards. I probably should. So, I try to limit myself in these videos that I don't go on too much and bore you too much. So I'm going to try to limit this, but I could probably go on for hours if talking about reasons for running. And sometimes they're very peculiar, and sometimes they come out of the blue. And I'm going to give you a personal example. My daughter Kelly grew up, obviously, with a father who was a runner, and she was slightly traumatized by this whole running thing because she would have to, if I'd sit there in my bare feet, look at my feet, which was really kind of a hideous sight. All kinds of gnarled up toes and toenails and that kind of thing. So she kind of grew up not wanting to really run. But as she got into her 20s, mid to late 20s, she decided that she was going to start running. And since then, she actually signed up with Team in Training, which benefits the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And they helped her along in her initial steps in running. And she started out running the San Diego Marathon and has run 9 marathons total since that time. She runs many races, 5Ks to half marathons. But 9 total marathons from somebody who had never really run a step in her life. So I don't know. I guess I should ask my daughter personally what her reasons for running are. But I think one of them is that she is a very driven person and she's a very goal-oriented person. And when she sets a goal, she's going to achieve that goal. And, she got it in her mind that she was going to run a marathon. She was going to be a runner, and she became a runner, and she has done quite well in the sport. So, again, a reason for becoming a runner. For some folks, they like to run maybe because they taken a look in the mirror and said, well, maybe I've gained a few pounds and I want to shed those pounds. There's no better way of doing that than by running. Because by running, you're almost kind of suppressing a little bit of that appetite, and as I've talked about before in a previous video, you are losing so much water weight, so much sweat each time you go out there to run that, again, it's almost a natural weight loss thing. You don't have to go on any fancy expensive diets or anything like that. So that is a reason why folks do it. Another reason, again, we're talking about We're talking about yesterday was the Super Bowl. The short career of professional athletes in any sport, particularly in football, there's no such short career in running. There's no retirement age. Runners go from very, very young all the way up into their 80s, 90s, and there are even runners that are 100 years old that are still running. And running, some of these people in their 70s and 80s are running very, very well. So, but no retirement age, no age limit on running. And we talked before about goals in running and in defining your goals and then redefining your goals. Again, you're not going to run as fast in your 60s or 70s as you may have run in your 20s or 30s. But that's okay. You can redefine, you're running against yourself. Yes, you're entering races, and yes, it's fun to come in ahead of other runners, but this is such a personal sport. And again, nobody else can do it other than you. There's no other teammates that you have to rely on. You run a race, that clock starts, and then that clock finishes when you cross the finish line. And there's no cheating involved. There's no, again, relying on or blaming other teammates or other folks for what you did or what you didn't do. This is a personal sport. It is up to you. So if you're goal-oriented, if you like to write things down, as I talked about on a previous video, and you want to achieve those goals, you've come to the right place. Running is something that you want to do. Some people like to go farther and faster. When people say, well, I just want to run a 5K. And then eventually, a year, 2, 3 years down the road, they're running half marathons and they're running marathons. And that's good because there's always a new challenge in running. There's a challenge, as I talked about before, also of getting out there, challenging those elements when you're out there. I just went out today and ran in a rainstorm. Now, it was 60 degrees, so it wasn't too bad of a rainstorm, but just getting out there despite the weather conditions and doing it, that is something that I think is also a goal of many runners. Running clears your head. And if you've got stresses from the job, family stresses, you get out and run. I'm telling you, it clears your head. Having trouble sleeping? Go for a run. Running will help you kind of calm down and help you actually sleep better. Health-wise, of course, there's numerous studies how physically wise running can help you. Now, caution: if you're watching this and you're not a runner and you happen to be, say, over 40 years old, go get a physical exam from a doctor, and you will be cleared, and then everything will be okay, so that you don't go out there and run if you shouldn't be running. If you are participating in other sports, obviously, running can help you. Running can help your endurance, and it can help you become actually better in your other sports that you may be participating in. Also, is there anything more emblematic of democracy than running? First of all, are any of us going to be out there on the court in Wimbledon? Mm-mm. The PGA Championship? Absolutely not. But you can run in the Boston Marathon, in the New York City Marathon, in the Chicago Marathon, and many, many others where you are going to be running in the same race with the top athletes in that sport in the entire world. Not going to happen in any other sport, but it will happen in running. And I guarantee you, you meet some of those folks and they will talk to you about running. Some of the elite top athletes in the world, they'll talk to you about running, and you will literally be their equal. Would the top tennis players in the world or the top golfers in the world do that? I don't really know, but I do know that runners will. And again, there is a camaraderie among runners. There is an empathy, I think, among runners, that you're kind of all in this together. And it doesn't matter whether you are the last finisher or the first finisher. And again, if you ever have the great privilege of running the Boston Marathon, whether you finish in 2 hours and 10 minutes or you finish in 6 hours and 10 minutes, you're going to get a rousing ovation from the crowd as you cross the finish line, or as you approach the finish line. And that goes for New York City, for Chicago, for Berlin, for marathons all over the world. They're just, people are enthusiastic about you running the marathon. So the reasons, your reasons are unique for running, but they're probably not unique. They're probably reasons that other folks also have espoused, because they want to do the same things that you want to do when you're out there. So again, think of yourself on Super Bowl Monday here. Think of yourself as being pretty super. Talk about the gentleman who may work a long day at work, or the woman who is working, taking care of a family, perhaps cooking the meals and things like that. And those folks are getting out to run. And when you think about that, kind of the reasons why people run: stress release, clearing your head, health-wise, whatever. Think about that, and think about not making excuses. Think about what the other man or woman who also runs is perhaps doing that day. Maybe you have the most difficult job in the world. Maybe you have the most difficult or the most stringent schedule that's very tough for you to squeeze that run in there. But again, try to get that half hour, that hour, whatever it may be, for you to get out there and run. And I guarantee you'll be happy for it. And I also guarantee you that the most difficult steps of that run will be the first couple steps before you go out the door and after you go out the door. Because again, sometimes our motivation goes downhill a little bit for whatever reason. We're tired, the weather's bad, whatever. But don't let that happen. Get out there and do it, because again, you're doing something very special, and you're doing something that not everybody can do. So why do we run? The list is endless. But the fact of the matter is, we do run. We do get out there and do it. You can do it at any age. You can do it anywhere, in any weather condition. You can do it outside, inside. You can run alone. You can run with friends. But the fact is, you're doing it. You're special, and you're very super. I'll see you next time on Running Shorts.